Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coltrane Conservator of the Arts Talk Show. Today we're going to be talking about As a Man Thinketh. If you recall, last week we talked about the mind and how it works, and the week before that we talked about the mind and how it works. Today we're going to continue that subject, except in a little different way. Now, I want to make certain that you all understand that this is an interactive television show, and today I'm going to allow you to call in. If you have some questions that you'd like to ask, please make those questions brief. If you have a comment, make it very brief too, because we only have a half hour on the air. So we're going to get right into it. Now, I'm going to show you something here. We're going to start the show, and today we're going to use the topic, Who Am I? Let's try that one. Who am I? Now, who are you? Okay. Well, first thing about it, if you notice that we've talked over the last 3 or 4 weeks, saying that you are spirit first, living in a physical body. And by the way, give somebody a call who you know is going to benefit from this. And those of you out there who have been studying different religious material, and you want to put a proper perspective on a lot of the things that you are studying, think in terms of the things that you are studying. And when you think in terms of the things that you are studying, I want you to try and relate what I'm saying to those things that you are studying, because this will give you an in-depth idea of really what the true meaning of many of the things that you are studying. And let's just go right ahead, because I don't want to get off too far away from what we're going to be doing on today. My name is Joe Pace III. Some of you all may know me. My assistant is Barbara G. Pace, Barbara Gail Pace, and we are going to be here for the next half hour. We leave off there at 8 o'clock. Now I want to show you something that's very important. You see that I want you to get a pen and paper if you can, and I want you to write down these things. If you notice that it says, Who am I? Now, the first thing that you see on there is, I am the cream of the crop. Now, understand what that means. That does not mean that you can ego trip all over the place saying it's all about me, because that's not what that means. That means that you are as much as anybody or anything in this universe. You are equal to any, I don't care how much money they have, I don't care how many fine cars they have, I don't care how beautiful they are, you are as good, you are as important, you are as much as anybody in this entire universe. And I want you to write that down. You got to remember that. This is who you are. I don't care who's around you that you may be envying or feel like they may be somewhat better than you are. They are not. Now, when you look at the second thing, it says that everything about me is special. And that is true. You know why everything about you is special? Because there's only one of you. Okay, you are unique. You came to this earth with your own special uniqueness. And that uniqueness makes you a very, very special person. Everything about you is special. You came here with a gift also. You came here with something that no one else can offer to the world. No one. No matter how many billions of people there are indeed in the universe. You are just that unique, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? Now let's go back to the sheet. I treat everyone as queens and kings. Now, what does that mean? Exactly what it says. If you want to be respected, if you want to have all of the get all of those accolades that you deserve to get, you should understand that we must give them to others. We must treat everyone as though someone said, as though they have been, as though we have been left in their will, and they have decided that we're going to inherit $1 million. Now, let's face it, if you knew someone like that, I get the feeling that you would treat them very, very kindly every time you came into contact with them. So this is what you want to do. And like I told you, I need you with a pen and pencil on the day. I need you writing these things down, because what I want you to do eventually, I want you to repeat these statements every day for 10, 12 times a day until they become part of your brand new paradigm. Because the idea here is to recreate you, to get rid of the old and bring in the new, okay? Because this is really who you are. To get rid of this false individual, this person that you've been acting like and behaving like, all of these years, and become that person that you truly was put on this earth to be. Now let's go with the next one, and let's see what it has to say. It said, my compassion is deep and sincere. We must at all times have compassion for others, We look at what's going on, and I'm going to just deal with this for a minute. Don't call me on this because don't call me over the phone on this because I'm not going to be dealing with this for just a second here. But we look at what happened over the last 2 days with all of these senseless killings that took place, these mass murders, And we fail to understand that we must have compassion for one another. We must have compassion for the people who are living here and who are trying to better themselves, who have crossed the borders to enable themselves and their families to live a higher quality of life, and indeed to get rid of the fear and all of those things that many of them are faced with when they try to get into this country. So we have to be very, very compassionate. We must be compassionate of people. We must understand that all of us, first of all, we make up the oneness of this entire universe. We're part of it. We may look different, we may act different, we may sound differently, but we actually are all the same. We're part of this single source of intelligence and power that's omnipresence, as we say, that's omnipotent, and that is everywhere, all the time, omniscient, having all intelligence, And this single mind and whatnot, we're part of it. It's not like 2 or 3, and everything that we do, every idea, good ideas, every positive thing that we come across and we do and we get involved with has been given to us by this supreme intelligence. We think it's us. That's why we run around ego tripping sometimes. But it's been given to us by this supreme intelligence. And what has happened is we have harmonized with it, so it's able to work through us. That's how it all happens, folks. Now let's go back to this sheet here. Okay, now let's take a look at the next one. It says, I love life and life loves me. Oh boy, I love life and life loves me. Now we got to get to the point where life is a beautiful thing to us, We have to see it like that because it is so beautiful. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you walk out to the beautiful sun and the smell of the trees and the flowers, and you just have to say how wonderful it is to be living on this earth. And not only that, but we have to recognize that life loves us. Everybody on, I hear people sometimes talk and they say, well, um, if something bad happens, they say, well, I guess the Lord wanted that to happen to me. I guess that was supposed to happen to me, or this, that, and the other, and so forth and so on. And maybe in the karma, a cause and effect law and consciousness of things, that could be proven somewhat to be accurate. But what we don't understand, I think, sometimes, is that this single source of life, this powerful intelligence that has created all of us and everything in this universe that can neither be destroyed nor created, that is not a product of cause nor effect, but just is. This power, ladies and gentlemen, is always wanting us to enjoy life, to live life, to enjoy every moment of life. So don't ever think that something that's going down that is crippling and unfortunate is a product that's being generated by this single source. This single source is absolutely compassionate and giving, and it's not there to cause harm to any of us. We cause harm when we get out of harmony with it. We cause harm ourselves to ourselves when we are not in harmony with it. You see, that's where it all goes down. Okay, now let's keep going here. Back to the sheet. I am wise, I am calm, I am patient. You all see where I am, don't you? You all see that one there? Do I have my pen on me? I want to make certain that you're getting this. That's going to be right there. I am wise, I am calm, I am patient. Now, we have that on there, and again, this is a list that you're compiling so that you can yourself repeat these things every day, 10, 15 times a day to yourself until finally this will be you. That's what this is all about. What we're doing is we're recreating you. We're giving you a brand new leash on life. A brand new leash on life, okay? So that's what this is all about. And if you would repeat these things, because what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is that when we start to repeat something, when we allow something to come into our conscious mind, it gradually becomes planted in our subconscious mind, which we call the garden of our life. And when it's planted there, it begins to grow. And when it begins to grow, we begin to change, and you can see it in the external world. Things begin to manifest. We start acting like we're the cream of the crop. We start acting like everything about us is special. We start treating everybody as queens and kings. Because this thought, has been planted over and over and over again in the garden of the subconscious mind. That's the way it works, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to believe these things. You have to start practicing them, and I guarantee you they will work. And in due time, your whole life will be totally different from what it is today. Now, let's go on back to the list. Now, when it says, I am wise, I am calm, I am patient, we don't get wise. Reading and keeping up with things is very important. We talk about this single source of intelligence, this supreme intelligence. Guess what? We ourselves have to learn more about it. We have to learn more about life. We have to be studying. We have to be reading. We have to be searching and whatnot. That's what this source is all about. And because we are in the image of this source, that's what we should be all about. Okay? Now, when it says, I am calm, too many times we get to the point where we are in the way, of this single source. And if we're all nervous and anxious and jittery about something, it can't work through us. We have to be calm, ladies and gentlemen. We have to be calm and collected. That's so it works through the peace and serenity within our life. It can't work in anxiety, chaos, nervousness. It must work in calmness. And that's why that's on the list. I am calm and I am patient. Now, why should I be patient? I should be patient because I can plant seed with good thoughts based on good actions that I'm taking, good work, good words that I'm speaking, good ideas that I'm coming up with that will help me as well as the rest, as others in society. But I never know when that harvest is coming. That's something that no one knows. We know that it's coming, but we don't know exactly when it's coming, you know. But someone once said that when that harvest starts to come, man, does it come. And I mean, the fruits are so plentiful until we can't even contain them all. It's sort of like something I read where it said something is that our blessings will be pressed down and flowing over, you know. And that's the truth. That's that garden producing fruit from the seed that we planted in our subconscious mind. But we don't know the harvest, so we don't know the date or the date of the harvest. So we have to be patient and keep working, keep nourishing it, keep watering it, keep fertilizing it, you know, in that garden, you know. Keep bringing in good thoughts, keep doing good things, keep thinking good things, keep seeing ourselves as being the cream of the crop, seeing ourselves as being special, keep treating everybody as queens and kings. And then, trust me when I tell you, that harvest will come and it will bloom and blossom so until you will be overwhelmed. Someone said when it starts to come, and I don't care what it is, money, relationships, job opportunities, whatever it is, it starts to overflow into our life, you know. But we must be patient, and that means we must be determined, and we must never doubt ourselves, nor must we ever give up. Because the only way that we're going to reach our destiny is, and that is the true destiny, is by continuing to do the things that we must do, that we've been told to do, that's written down from through the ages by all thinkers, down through the ages. All thinkers have thought this way. And anybody who's done anything special must have thought this way. You cannot do anything special in life. And all of us should be doing something special without thinking in this manner. Now, I'm going to stop just for a minute. I want to show you something because we may not be able to get through this entire list. We may have to pick up here on next week, and I think we will. But what I want to show you is a little book I'm going to introduce you to, and I want you to take a look at it because it's something that you should have in your library. Now you see this little book, mine is, you can see mine is, it's a little rough on the edges. because I've been reading it, and reading it and reading it. This little book right here is by James Allen. Can you can't see the writing on there, can you? No, for some reason you can't see it on there. But the name of it is As a Man Thinketh. I'm going to take it off because maybe let's see if you can see the writing on there. But nope, you can't see the writing on there. But the name of this book is As a Man Thinketh, and it's by James Allen. Write that down. James Allen, Allen. As a Man Thinketh. As a Man Thinketh. I want you to pick that book up. You can get that book. This is a hardback copy here. It didn't cost that much many years ago. But you can get it in paperback, and I think it's $5 or $6 or something of that type. Go to Amazon. They always got books like this, or whatever place you get your books from. And surely they will have this book. James Allen wrote this book back, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he wrote this book in somewhere close to the turn of the 19th century, turning into the 20th century. He wrote it right in there. And it has so much powerful information. Everybody, you name Les Brown, you name Bob Proctor, you name Dr. Miles Monroe, you name Norman Vincent Peale, you name Napoleon Hill, and you name one last fellow I wanted to come up with. Anyway, any of those people there, there was 5 or 6 of them, all of them have taught on this little book right here. It's a very little book. I'd like for you to read it every day if you could, but certainly once a week, and let these concepts marinate in your mind, Let them go through your mind. And like I told you a moment ago, these things, if you're reading in some religious publication, you're going to be able to relate to this. You're going to say, oh, wow, I was reading this in a scripture, and this is what it really meant, because this fellow here elaborates on all of it, in such a way. Let's take a look at some of the things he said. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not only embraces the whole of a man's being, but is so comprehensive as to reach out to every condition and circumstance of his life. A man is literally what he thinks, and of course that means a man or woman. His character being the complete sum of all of his thoughts. As the plant springs from and could not be without the seed, so every act of a man springs from the hidden seeds of thought. And, let's keep going, and could not have appeared without them. This applies equally to those acts called spontaneous and unpremeditated as to those which are deliberately executed. Now, what he means by that, it doesn't make any difference whether this is just something that we habitually are doing, or whether or not we have put a plan together to do this. That seed is planted no matter what, whether or not it's by inadvertently or unintentionally, or it is intentionally. Now, act is the blossom of thought, and joy and suffering are its fruit. Thus does a man garner in the sweet and bitter fruitage of his own husbandry. Husbandry is like a farmer, of his own farming, okay? For those of you who don't know that word, I wouldn't know it myself. I learned that word in anthropology. I studied some cultural anthropology in college. Thought in the mind hath made us. What we are by thought was wrought and built. If a man's mind hath evil thoughts, pain comes on him as comes the wheel, the ox behind. If one endure in purity of thought, joy follows him as his own shadow. Man is a growth by law and not a creation by artifice. Now that's something you have to kind of go through. Man is a growth by law and not a creation by artifice. Now what does that mean? There are universal laws. For example, folks, there's a law of cause and effect. That's considered the law. There's a law of compassion. There's a law of forgiveness. All of these things are laws. Now, they may be called something else in your religious textbook, but all of these things are laws, and we must abide by them. So when he says man is a growth by law and not a creation by artifice, he's saying that we are growing by the sincerity of keeping these laws or not keeping them. That's where our growth is going. It's coming from, and it's not based on some sort of pity or something of that type. I don't care how much we scream out, in pity. It will do us no good. We have to follow these laws in order to make things work for us in life. There's no such thing as someone screaming out, for help and help showing up. There's no such thing. We may scream out for help, but believe me when I tell you that if we receive any help from the way in which we are screaming, it has not been because of the fact that we were screaming. It's because of the fact that the conditions is such that cause and effect is bringing that into our life based on causes we have made long before we start screaming, and so we need to understand that. And let's keep on going. I want to read just a few more of these lines for you. Let's say a noble and godlike character is not a thing of favor or chance. Now, I was just saying that. A noble and godlike character, now that's God with a big G, is not a thing of favor or chance, but is the natural results of continued effort in right thinking, the effect of long cherished association with godlike thoughts. Okay? That's what gets us there. That's what gets us there, not this thing that we've been thinking all the time, And the only way that we're ever going to reap the goods of this earth is when we start using our mind. I'm going to read one thing. Of all the last thing. Of all the beautiful truths pertaining to the soul which have been restored and brought to light in this age, none is more gladdening or fruitful or divine promise and confidence than this, that man is the master of thought, the molder of his own character, and the maker and shaper of his own conditions, environments, and destiny. Now, I'm going to leave you with that, Now, that is a fact. I don't care what you ever hear. We are the molders of who we are. And that's always going to, and nobody else is that. We can try to put it on someone else, but it can never be passed on to someone else. We are the molders of our own character and our own destiny. And we have to start to behave in that manner if we're ever going to succeed and get to the point in which we are doing those things that we so richly deserve and want. And everything is open to us. There isn't anything closed. Everything good is open to us. There isn't anything closed to us. We can have whatever we want to. We can do whatever we want to, so long as it's in harmony with this supreme intelligence, which is compassion, and which is good, which is compassionate, and which is good, and which is loving. We can have all that we ever wanted to have. It doesn't make any difference how many billions of dollars you would like, how many beautiful cars or houses, your health, and everything else. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that you visited with us on the day, and we hope that you come back on next week when we will pick up right here and continue in this very, very profound conversation. See you next time.